Fellas, say goodbye to Chuck Sherman the boy. I am now a man. I highly recommend you join the club. We are doing the wild thing all night.
Acid house music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sherm.
Sherman, I could all this food. Is that all you gonna eat?
General Sherman realized and understood the importance of house music.
So, do you know anything about techno?
No.
Listen.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another brand new episode of Sherm In The Booth. I'm, of course, your host, Sherm. Today is Thursday, August 15th, 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 71071 of In The Booth, and we just keep getting bigger and better. You know I'm not about to slow down now. This episode is featuring a man I've been looking up to for a long time. He goes by the name of Phives, a member of Porn and Chicken, former GM of the Mid, and also a Sony Alpha Ambassador. He does all that and then some. I've got a lot of respect for this man. I don't want to spoil any surprises. He does so much more than just benefiting the music scene here. He also does a lot for the community, but he's going to tell you all about that. Phives, from the bottom of my heart, man, I really appreciate you coming on to the podcast. It means so much. Let's get into it right now, guys. Episode 71 with Phives. Action. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with someone that I have been following for quite some time, aka Phives.
Yep.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to Sherm In The Booth.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, man.
Thank you.
Finally link.
It's an honor, huh? That's awesome. Seriously,
is.
like, I have been following you. So I moved to Chicago about 4.5, 5 years ago, and I had a lot of friends. I went to IU. I had a lot of friends that moved to Chicago, so I came to visit a lot. And I had seen you during a Porn and Chicken show one time, just like fucking crushing a set. And I was like, God damn, like, who is this guy?
Thank you.
Then come to find out, all the mutual friends we have, I mean, your name has come up on the show multiple times. Just recently with James Fisher Align.
Oh, yeah, I love him.
ADLX.
Amazing. Yep,
Oh,
those are the
such
homies.
good music, man. JG, like, everyone speaks so highly of you. No surprise you're an awesome guy involved in so many things. So just want to acknowledge
All
you for
good
all the
peeps,
things you've
man.
done.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what it's
really
all about,
appreciate
man.
that. Yep.
I noticed in Chicago a lot, just like with the people. Like I said, I'm from Indiana. Chicago is a melting pot, yes, but everyone's got that Midwest attitude.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
It's totally different than the West Coast or the East Coast. And
Oh, my God.
not to say anything's wrong with that, but people are just more real and down to earth here, I feel like.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. It's more of a genuine connection you make with people.
Yep.
LA, like, of course, there's so many things going on there. Like, obviously, the music and radio scene there,
Yeah.
the Hollywood scene, New
Yep.
York, School of Hard Knocks. Like, there's a lot of people who live there. There's a lot of ways to have success, but I feel like everyone's not stabbing each other in the back, but kind of looking to leapfrog.
Yeah, yep.
You know, and something I've noticed in Chicago, too, is I feel like in the music industry, from my experience so far, everyone's kind of waiting in line, right?
Yeah.
And it's about how long are you willing to wait in line? And who are you waiting in line with?
Sure.
So, like, if you and I are waiting in the line, I don't really care how long we wait because we're going to talk, we're going to have a good time. And we see the people that Chinese cut or, like, you know, go to the
Yeah.
front of the line, we're like, hey, I see that, I remember you.
Yeah.
And then there are people in front of us who are like, I can't wait any longer.
Yep.
And then we keep waiting.
Yep.
And then we finally get to the front of the line, whatever ride or event we're going to.
Yep.
And I
Chicago
noticed
definitely
that
grinds.
a lot in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's working hard here.
Yep, always on the grind. And it's
Always
all
on
about
the
the
grind.
people, I'll say that. There's something to love about every other city. I think the thing that keeps everyone going in Chicago is the people and how genuine people are,
Yes.
the connections you can make. You know, that's why we put up with all these bullshit winners, right? You know, all these days. It's like the
Yeah.
people here you can still kick it with, and there's always something
Absolutely.
going on. And, you know, we are spoiled also with music, and we, like you said, we're a melting pot of, you know, you can go and listen to one of the best dubstep bass shows and, you know, walk down the street and listen to some amazing techno. And
It's crazy.
not to mention the underground scene and
Yeah.
all of that.
I love it here. I think probably my favorite part is not just the people, like you said, but it's so easy to feel like, oh, I can get in touch with this person. Like the rule of 6 degrees of separation in the world,
Yeah.
right? I think it's 2 degrees here in Chicago.
Yeah,
For
that's
anybody.
that.
It doesn't have to be like you're a DJ, you're a DJ. It's like you're a makeup artist
Yeah.
who knows this person.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, the Zantra girls too. Like
Yeah.
they of course knew everybody and all that type of stuff. And, you know, we could probably run down the fucking list of the people that we
Oh,
mutually know, right?
Yep.
And that's why it's so much fun when you go out to festivals, like you said, Lollapalooza. What did you say, Homie Fest?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you just go and you're more hanging out and networking with people and just kind of enjoying that more so. I mean, back in the day, you'd go and listen to headliners, and there's some shows that you definitely want to see, but for the most part, if you go to a festival, you're just hanging out with friends.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, it's about that experience and just being there and seeing people that you wouldn't normally see, like on a weekend or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the festivals, too. Like, I feel like I've gotten to the age where I used to see a festival lineup. I'm like, yes. Haven't seen this person, like this.
Yep.
27 now. I've been to a lot of festivals. I've seen a lot of great shows.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be like, I want to put myself in a position where I'm going to these because I'm going to have a good time, but also I want to learn.
Right.
You know, how do these professionals?
Yeah.
It didn't just happen overnight. They got to this position for a reason.
Right.
So I'm always just like trying to learn from these people.
Yeah, and you'll see the people that are behind the scenes. You know,
Yes.
We're talking about Lala. We got to meet all the people that are behind the Lala structure, the Red Bull structure they built there, all the bartenders, like everyone, all the industry people behind the scenes. You really get to know them, and you know, even at the after party, all those people let loose, and we really got to know them. Besides, they're working, you know, without the working face on, they're just letting loose. We're getting down at Spy Bar, and it's
a well-oiled
good time,
machine.
man. Yeah, it is. It really is. It's surprising how everything always comes together.
I know, and not even just music, but the whole creative industry. It's a well-oiled machine. I think it's obviously pretty hard to make it, and like I said, back in the line thing, but you know, you got to love it along the way. Every day when you get up, success for most people, I would say, who aren't doing something that they truly love, and that could be anything. I feel like they maybe have like a backhanded sort of jealousy because I may not make the most money or have the nicest car or whatever, but goddamn, do I love doing this? You know, like I always say, like if it was just you and I and Tony that listen to this podcast, I'm good. I'm still fucking doing it every single day. So when the success and the fame or whatever happens, that's just a cherry on top because I love what I'm doing no matter what.
Absolutely.
That's where the passion comes from.
Yep, I agree. And as cliche as it sounds, that's really the truth of the matter. It's you just pursue your passion and the money will come if you are really dedicated and true to what you do and you really believe in it and you put everything into it, you know, it'll come. Success will come.
I mean, how many people have you met, like let's just say DJs, for example, that are maybe 30 years or above, maybe haven't even made it yet, but are probably some of the happiest people you've ever met, right?
Oh, so many.
They're so glad to be hanging out with people who are like-minded, playing great shows, whatever it might be.
Exactly.
They don't have to be closing Perry stage on Sunday night at Lala, but you know, it's all the same.
I mean, so many of our friends, and I'm sure so many people you've interviewed, you know, have had that, you know, that mentality and that route, and they continue to, you know, to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's awesome.
Now, you got that Chicago mindset. Are you from Chicago originally?
I'm from the suburbs, Skokie. So
Skokie.
I was born in Chicago, grew up in Skokie, and then went to school in Champaign, U of I.
Nice.
And then came back and city life ever since.
What was the electronic music scene like when you were in college?
It was not quite there yet. It was
Canopy Club there?
Yeah, Canopy was there.
It's always been there.
But they didn't really... DJs were not that big back then. I think that was around when Benny Benassi really blew up.
Yes.
That's right around there. And, you know, I was a trance guy back then. So there weren't too many shows around. But, yeah, there's definitely... the scene was starting to blossom then, just like right at the cusp.
Is that when electronic music came into your life?
Yeah, right around there.
So what was like some of the first DJ sets you ever saw? Like, was there an experience you remember? I love this shit.
I was that kid. I just went around to every festival I could. Went to, you know, when Ultra, you know, their first few years down in Miami.
Nice.
You know, Paul Van Dyke, Oakenfold, all of that.
Yes.
Robbie Rivera, all those artists. Like I said, I was
That's
like a trance guy.
Yeah.
So I would, you know, travel around, go to Europe. I went to Ibiza, got to see, you know, Carl Cox there. It was that's kind of what really just tossed me into the deep end with electronic music.
There's a whole other world of electronic music, like
absolutely,
for the outside ear, and then like once you go into the house and techno and even trance, I mean, it's all an umbrella, and everybody is kind of standing in different parts of this reign of life. But like you go into different parts, you're like, damn, like I said, we went to Movement. First time I went to Movement, I was like, what is this shit?
Yep.
Well, I love it, but you got to sometimes go experience it, and it's almost like you got to challenge yourself, I guess, for like lack of a better term. Like you got to go like, okay, I don't know this DJ, or I don't know what this set's going to be like. I've maybe seen that person before, but I'm going to go to this.
Yeah. Yep.
And it sometimes brings something out of you.
Yep. And I think that's the beauty of festivals still, too. And
Yeah.
going back to what we said, sometimes, you do want to see a headliner, but sometimes you just want to get lost, find a random stage, and just enjoy whatever artist that is and discover this new artist, because they're put on the lineup for a reason.
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
And there's so much talent out there right now that...
So much talent.
Yeah.
I mean, with how we are living in this digital age, the best producer, for all we know, it could be in his room at 17 years old on his laptop, right?
Absolutely.
Because, I don't know, they don't have the money to afford the speakers or the headphones or some shit. I mean, like, I have a friend, and he is such a good producer out of nowhere, and he uses, like, an old iMac. You know, it's, like, just, like, barely works, but this guy is cranking out tunes. Shout out Flanino. Yeah. And it's just, like, unbelievable because it's just the work you put into it.
Yep, absolutely.
So... in terms of music, I mean, obviously grown in Chicago, it's home of house music. You individually, like, I know, but for the listeners out there, everything you've done with Porn and Chicken, Running the Mid, all that stuff like we were talking about before, what's been some personal and cultural milestones you've experienced in the past decade in regards to house music?
Oh, man. I feel like house music got brushed off to the side, and... I mean, there's still a handful of kids I feel like don't fully understand the foundation that house music provided for a lot of artists. And a lot of artists started within the house scene and kind of grew from there. You know, and there's always this trajectory. So I feel like it's been a roller coaster of the shift in music and genres. Let's see, I want to say this right. So, I mean, you know, house music started out, especially me. I mean, everyone's different in how they see everything, and the music that I was exposed to is different than anyone else's journey, you know.
Sure.
But the way I see it is that as, you know, technology and software became more readily available for kids, more music was made, electronic music became at the forefront. You no longer had to, you know, if you want to record a pop song, you don't have to have all these instruments and go to the studio. You can just crank it out in Ableton, you know, record some vocals on it, and there's a plug-in for literally any hardware, anything, any instrument you want to use.
Amen.
And you can just layer everything. So the shift, I feel like, started out with, you know, house, and, you know, trance has always been there, but then, you know, dubstep had its rise, and we kind of embraced it once that started blowing up.
Yeah, true.
And then it became, you know, drum step, and, you know, there's always, you know, drum and bass in the background. There's always UK garage. There's all these genres, and certain genres kind of peaked. Some genres didn't. You know, hardstyle made a big comeback in the West Coast.
Yeah.
And it really was kind of just it really depends on where you live, and that's kind of what you're exposed to.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
amen to that.
You know, Chicago being the home, you know, I would say home of house music. We were still, like you said, a melting pot of everything, so we got a little bit of everything. And even pop right now, a lot of pop can be considered electronic music. And I
mean,
feel
it's
like there's
produced
that
by
shift.
a lot of these electronic producers.
Uh-huh,
A lot of people don't know.
Yep. And I think that there's that shift now that it became mainstream. Electronic music is more pop. A lot of EDM, you know, quote unquote, is really pop music right now, or can be considered pop music. People are kind of going out on their own to either make new or explore new genres of music. And, you know, that's why I think this year there's, these past 2 years, there's been a big resurgence in tech house, you know, with, you know, Fisher and a lot of artists kind of transitioning over to, you know, that, and a lot of even, I think Big Room is going to make a big comeback, and that's something that...
cyclical process.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It is, and sounds evolve, and new, you know, tastes come about, and there's always this new sound that you're developing. And I feel like, there's just that whole roller coaster of, you know, music paradigm shifts. If you will.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting to hear you talk about it, you know, only a few years older than me, but how you, like, well, it all started with the trance, right?
Yeah.
For me, like, it started with the Hook and Slings Take You Higher. You know what I mean? The Avicii's, the Levels. Like, one of the first electronic shows I went to was Avicii. One of the first electronic songs I heard was Brazil, Deadmau5. So I kind of saw this, like, okay, progressive era for me. And then it went into Big Room, the Hardwells and the Steve Aoki's. And then it kind of was like, okay, I can't do all this big room anymore.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of time for it to come back,
Yep.
right? It's 9-10 years.
Yeah.
And then it goes into trap, the Flosstradamus original
yep.
Dawn.
Of course, yep.
That comes around. And then it goes into more dubstep, and the Snails of the world start appearing, the Excisions and stuff, and like I feel like just all these new groups of people kept coming in because the music was evolving.
It is,
you know.
yeah.
And then someone like Tiesto is like seeing this, and he's like, okay, we got to do this. And then now I've realized just from like honestly not being able to jump for 3 days in a row at festivals, I'm looking to dance. I'm looking to go to house music, right?
Yeah.
And house music to me, someone who told me this, Alex Kislov, he was like, if you look at Google Trends, house music is always slowly going up.
Yep.
Never up and down. And now I kind of see it all kind of forming together.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so
Good way to
interesting.
put it.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see because for all of us now who are sharing this in the moment, I don't know maybe what 19 and 20-year-olds are going through.
Yeah.
What I did. But it's crazy just to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah.
And now everything's intersecting.
Yeah, and it's crazy because my wife Danny is doing this web series for The Verge, and she actually covered Junkie XL. I don't know if you remember Junkie XL, but he's doing major movie scores now. And she just went to this spot, and he was producing all these crazy cinematic just tracks for movies like 300, for Blade.
Some Hans Zimmer shit.
It's unreal, and to see that whole scene come into cinema now, you know, like that's considered,
It's
the
crazy.
new thing. Yep.
I mean, part of these IMAX experiences is like these high def, Dolby sound systems, right?
Yep.
And it's funny because the guy we were talking about a line, I was like, what's one thing that you want to start doing? And he had like a song that was featured in like, I think it was Veil.
Yeah.
Like a summer movie or something. And he was like, I want to start making like scores for movies. And like, that's such a creative outlet for someone who's like, I don't just want to make music to play DJ sets.
Yeah.
Because music is a language.
Yeah.
And it's something that's universal and for movies and television shows.
Yeah, let alone video games and the integration.
Video games,
there,
man. How can I forget about video games,
Yeah, that's
right?
a huge thing that's coming up.
It's crazy you talked about Ninja, too. Just like the intersect between, let's just say, him and Marshmello, right?
Yeah, yep.
Ninja's getting Marshmello fans and Marshmello's getting Ninja fans.
Yep.
And it's just so cool to see those types of things in the collaboration.
Yep, absolutely.
But again, like I said in the beginning, so I heard of you, saw you 5-6 years ago when Porn and Chicken was at Evil Olive. I want to ask just a little bit about how you, Dom, and Orville all came together and, where did this idea really form?
Dom actually started this years ago at Risque Cafe with Mandy, Dan Dwyer. There's a couple Hank. There's a couple other people, Dave Hansen, and Orville was one of the first DJs he booked. He just saw Orville DJing with a controller, like a MIDI controller, and Dom's like, "I need to book you." And then came in. He knew Ammo. You wanted an all-inclusive kind of. It's just an experience in itself.
Sure.
And it outgrew Risque, and at that time I was working at Evil Olive, and Eric Ballard was the GM there before me, and we'd brought Porn and Chicken over, and that's kind of how I got introduced to all of them, and I'm like, I really dig what you guys are doing, and let me be part of this, like we can help each other grow, and I mean the rest is history after that. Once we moved the party to Evil Olive, literally all hell broke loose, and
those Monday nights, right?
Monday nights, every Monday night for 8 years in a row. Yeah.
Can you tell me about how that physically affected you?
It was intense, especially doing a different theme, but it was fun. It was a moment in time, and it's definitely an era. It was an end of an era that I think no one could ever replicate. The shit that we did, and it was just, there's so much reward in throwing the party itself and having this safe haven for people to come to and just lose their minds, do whatever we wanted, but still listen to really fucking amazing music. You know, every Monday night, and open to close, you knew it was going to be amazing music, and some crazy shit was going to go on.
Absolutely.
And as tolling as it was, the reward was definitely there.
For sure. I mean, the consistency is what's so important. In a weekly party, in like my podcast, like I pretend that somebody's on my back, like, hey, Sherm, this is record label so-and-so. Is Sherm In The Booth coming out on time, And it's like, we got to stay consistent because you got to think about, put yourself in the shoes of somebody else, right?
Sure.
They want something that they can go to and lose their minds. Maybe they can't do it every week, but they know that when they go. Then you just got this whole collective of people.
Yep.
And then when did you guys move to the Mid then?
When I took on as a GM there. We just kind of made the move. We got to a point where we kind of outgrew Olive, and
which is impressive because Olive is a relatively big venue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we just wanted something bigger, better, and we wanted to book some bigger artists. And I think we've had everyone over at the Mid since, and it was a totally different beast. I'll have to say it wasn't the same vibe as Olive, but you have to make certain concessions. With anything that you do, at some point when you grow to a certain level, there's certain things that you have to kind of work with, adapt to.
Absolutely. And on that note, what are some of the challenges you guys had collectively and individually, and how did you get through them?
It was just kind of evolving the party. And one thing was, how do we maintain this ambiance in a much larger venue? And a lot of those challenges were, hey, are we booking bigger artists? If we're not going to deck the place out and decor, what artists are we going to do, or what are we going to do in order to give that same vibe off?
Right.
And it was kind of a weekly challenge for all of us to come together and figure that out and book the right artists and book the right people, and also to kind of maintain that air of anything goes, but also working in a much different environment.
Yeah, absolutely. You said that so perfectly. I got nothing to follow up for that. That's exactly what you should say. Doing that together, you had the team, right?
Yeah.
You were all in the same boat, and it probably felt to a certain extent like the people who even came were helping out, right?
Absolutely, yep. Yeah, 100%.
The bartenders, the doormen.
The bartenders, yeah. Every little thing down to the bathroom attendant contributes. It really does. All these people create the culture, and these are the people that make people feel comfortable to come back and to return and to keep coming back. And finding those right people and putting them in place was, it's part of the challenge, it's part of the fun to find those like-minded people that understand your party, and it was always
understand
fun.
Is a good word there.
Yeah, it was always fun doing the pre-shift meetings with everyone, especially at first. Like, listen, this is a different kind of party. This is a different night, especially addressing all the security guards.
Yeah,
and we had our rules. No cameras, no photos, and shit will get crazy here.
Right.
Just letting you guys know. But that was part of the fun, is seeing them. For the most part, being like, holy shit, what's going on? And also enjoying this whole experience that we're actually putting into this venue that they're not used to at all.
For sure. That was probably some of the most fun parts for you and the team, too, like the unknown.
Yeah,
I think that's
the shock.
The shock. Everybody's kind of looking for something, like I said in the beginning, like that little element of fear, like, I don't know what I'm going to get from this. And you probably didn't either.
Yeah.
Week by week.
Not at all. Yep.
That's amazing. And shout out to all the bathroom attendants in Chicago nightlife.
Check people. Yeah. The front door hosts.
You guys are important.
They are.
You guys are very important. I love that. Now, real quick, moment of silence for the Mid. Just 2 seconds here. Head down. God, I miss that place.
Yep.
Like I said to you before we went on the air, that's one of the first clubs I ever went to. I've seen so many shows there. I was talking to Mike Lang on the night that I played at the Mid on New Year's Eve, which was, of course, very special for me. And I was like, man, can you even put into words like what it's like to see this place go or even feel it? He said, no. It's just, it's a feeling.
It is.
Right? It's not even, you can't even put it into words.
Yeah.
I want to know, take us back to how you got involved initially, from maybe the transition from Evil Olive and all the changes you made once you took over.
I think that once I left Olive, I went on to, work with Porn and Chicken full time. We were touring, traveling all over.
Yeah.
And once it got to a point where we were ready to make the step up, it just so happened the Mid was looking for new management and a new GM, and everything just fell into place at that point. They approached me. We had a couple talks and meetings, and it just seemed like a right fit.
Yeah.
And everything just, it was just the right time, right place. Everything fell. All the cards played out, and it was an opportunity that I saw that I could take on for both Porn and Chicken and myself to grow professionally, and also creatively. I was able to kind of take the reins and veer the Mid into a different direction,
right?
And kind of reestablish. The Mid is such a legendary venue and so much history behind it.
So much.
It was a no-brainer for me, and all the people behind it that really grew it. Lucas, Nick, even Jeff, Mike Lang, anyone that had a part in cultivating the Mid was just this historic icon in Chicago, and for me to be able to, be a part of that was just like fuck yes, yeah. You know, like, of course. Yeah,
I mean, that's a part of your journey. It's part of your history.
It is.
Right?
It is.
I mean, that is so awesome, man. Like, I just want to thank you on behalf of myself and all my friends that went. Like, I noticed a immediate change when you started taking over, like we talked about with Prism now, you know? The bottle life isn't sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Like, why do dive bars do successfully, right?
Yeah.
Why are they still there? Like, why is there one here in the Loop that's been here for 25 years? Because people know what they're going to get. They know the bartender. They know the front doorman, like we were just talking about.
Yep.
And I think the more often venues stay, Spy Bar is a great example, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what you're going to get.
Yep.
The artists, of course, change and stuff, but the experience, the feeling, the memory.
The memory, the culture, I think is the biggest thing. Culture and community. Without those, it's really difficult to establish longevity in Chicago. And, you know, Smart Bar does a perfect job of that.
Smart
Just
Bar.
so welcoming, always top tier talent. It's, you know, I go there not as often as I should, but every time I go there, it's just such a good vibe. You know everyone. People are, whether you know them or not, the staff is amazing, and that's the same thing that, you know, Prism is doing right now. That, you know, all these places, Spy Bar does, Sound Bar does really well. All these venues, and I think that's what it really takes to really persevere in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why do you think it's so important for, let's just say, a city like Chicago to have a venue like the Mid or Smart Bar or Spy Bar?
Because of the community, and like we talked about before, Chicago's about the people.
Yeah.
And having, you know, when you go to those certain spots that we mentioned, you know the people, and your crew feels comfortable there because you know that your crew will get along with all these other crews that will get along there, and all of a sudden you just become this giant movement of people that, you know, appreciate great music, and you know, you love the environment that you're in, and, you know, it's all an experience with the people.
You're losing your mind together.
Absolutely.
Now, was there any personal bookings that you went for, like you said, Adam Bear and
Adam Bear, Nicole, Art Bat,
Buddha Bear, was there any that you were like, yes, I got this person?
Adam Bear, all of those, a lot of the, a couple bass shows that we did, Sullivan King, putting him together, doing some nasty shows, some bass shows at the Mid were amazing. I just remember just the wall of death that happened with Sullivan King
famous
and
videos
at
of
the
that.
Mid, and I mean,
at the
come
club.
on. And then I think like the next week we did a techno show where it's just a totally different crowd. You know. But there's so many just amazing shows. A lot of like the tech house techno ones that we did there. The night bass one was special with AC Slater that we did. And I just really love the ability to run the gamut of music genres there and really you know, challenge everyone. One week we'd have a trance artist, and the next week we'd have bass dubstep, and then after that it'd be a house music night. We'd have, you know, Hot Mix 5, some legends there. You know, and then we'd be able to do a Gene Ferris night. There are just so many amazing artists. You know, one we talked about, Solardo and Latman that night was amazing.
Oh, that was so sick.
Yeah, so many amazing shows there.
Now, you were booking the headliners. How involved were you with booking the openers? Because, like I said, a lot of the people that have mentioned your name, you gave them awesome opportunities.
Yeah, I would say that I would kind of toss names into the hat for consideration. We'd have our talent buyer, Chris, and Lucas obviously helped out, book a lot of these major artists. And then what I really wanted to do was, you know, really foster that sense of community, and the best way to do that is kind of showcase artists that were making moves in the music industry and the scene. And I realized that there are all these artists, and a lot of venues would just book the same residents and artists. There's nothing wrong with that because they all deserve it.
They do a good job.
But we had an opportunity, especially with so many different genres of music that we were doing, and so many people doing different things within those respective genres. It just made sense that Mid being a music venue, it made sense to showcase the local artists and give back to the community that ultimately these are the kids that bring the crowds out to come see your shows because they're passionate about trance, or they're passionate about dubstep, or they love tech house or house. You know, giving that back to them and giving them the spotlight and being like, hey, you know, I know you're doing, you know, we didn't book bullshit. Like any artists that we did, they were amazing, you know, openers, and we just, you know, we just found these pockets of people, and they really enjoyed. They were making moves within, you know, their scene, and I felt that it was, you know, the right thing to really rotate everything and give everyone a platform to get their music out and to play out to crowds.
It's interesting how you put it like that, too, because you said, you know, it's a trance artist. I'm going to book a guy who's producing trance. You know, he may have not played at the Mid before or this or that or, you know, a quote-unquote bottle blonde, right?
Yeah.
But damn, I checked out this guy's music. He works really hard. I see him doing this and this. He's going to bring his friends. Like, that kind of made me think of, like, how music unites certain groups together, you know? Like, I think about my mom. She still goes to fucking Bruce Springsteen concerts with one of her best friends. And, you know, she's in her late 50s, and she's like, can't wait to go to Bruce Springsteen with her friend wherever, and they travel for it. I think about myself and our friends going to a place like the Mid, and we go there all together because we're like, yes, we all get to experience this together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Mid did such a good job of, was the variety, you know, and the sense of welcoming, especially, you know, once you kind of took the bull by the horn. Well, I mean, you did. Like, that's an undertaking, and you went for it.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall.
You got to go all in.
You do.
Yeah,
you do got to go all in.
And again, it's this whole rewarding experience because most of these people, you know, you mentioned ADLX, JG. These are guys that I hang out with now on the weekends. I'm about to see them. These have become really good friends of mine, and I love the music that they play out. I love the music that they're making, and you know, Andy Grush. So many people that, you know, I've met along the way that I wouldn't have met otherwise, and this transcends beyond that. It's also the media team that we put together, you know, Clark Street that have been doing, you know, video recaps and shooting media, Synergio working with BAM at the Mid, all these different collectives and groups of people that are super creative, super dedicated, and fun, and, you know, it's still a party just as hard as all of us.
Yeah, of course.
It's really cool to be able to unite everyone and put all these pieces together, and that was part of the challenge, part of the fun, part of the reward, is to see everything come together.
Was part of the reward, too, maybe somebody like AC Slayer saying, thank you, Phives, for putting this together? Like,
of course.
That's got to be a huge aspect of it for you personally, right? I mean, you're doing these artists, like, they work really hard, they make great music, but, like, they got to that point, and you're recognizing them for that, right? You're the, you know, GM of the Mid. You're like, AC Slater, I see what you're doing. You're bringing this whole culture. I mean, night-based city. Coming to Chicago. That's so fucking sick.
That was awesome. The Golf Clap guys, all these collectives.
Golf Clap guys,
Shout out to all them. Country Club Disco. And these are just all movements and communities that, you know, people are passionate about that happen to circle around music.
Gosh, so true, man. Shout out to the Golf Clap guys. They're fucking awesome. They're
Love
coming
those.
to a state. I'm pumped about that. I'm playing on the back deck with, here we go with the 2 degrees of separation, Andy Gresh and JG.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. You got to come.
I will.
But I want to get into your photography a little bit. Okay. So that was another kind of, like, thing that I followed you for, not just from, like, everything you're doing in the scene, but, dude, your fucking photos are incredible.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you.
When did you get your first camera?
I've always had, I think it was in... It was in high school that I took a photography class.
Really?
And that's when it was a 35 millimeter and we developed film in a dark room and all that. And then after that, it kind of fell off. And I would say that I got my first camera when I was traveling with Porn and Chicken, and we were going to all these awesome locations. Like, we played in Shibuya and Tokyo. And
that's so dope.
We were traveling all these awesome cities like Hawaii, just beautiful, beautiful places. Honolulu, Hawaii, like Washington, D.C., played in Miami, New York, just all these spots. And I just bought this little pocket camera, and I would take all these pictures, like, randomly. And I slowly changed my Instagram feed from memes and all the DJ stuff to a little bit, like, more artsy, like, see what would happen. And all of a sudden, I started gaining this small following, and I started getting featured by a couple of these other feature hubs, and my work would start to get shared and circulated. A couple of them went viral, and at that point I was like, well, you know, I should probably look into this a little more, and I took it a little more seriously. Started kind of teaching myself, you know, and just going out there and shooting and learning how to edit and finding other photographers that I was like envious of. There's just a handful of them on Instagram, and I was just like, I just love what they're doing. And I would try to mimic what they would do and try to edit and learn how they got to their edits, and I would kind of put my own spin on it. And one thing led to another, and Sony found me, and I became an ambassador for Sony. And ever since then, you know, I just started upgrading all the camera gear from a little point and shoot to mirrorless body, and one thing led to another, and it's been 4 years now, and still kind of getting, still barely scratching the surface of everything that, you can do with media and photography. There's just so many different, niches. It's just like, you start producing music,
right?
You know how to make a house track, but once you sit in the studio with someone that's producing dubstep, it's totally different. So, this past weekend I was lucky enough to be able to work with BAM and Red Bull and Synergio Designs and Rituals and Paradigm to shoot their Red Bull party, and that was kind of my first foray into actually doing a lot of nightlife. I usually never shoot in a nightlife setting, and that was something really cool to be able to do for them.
Of course.
And it's always learning something new, learning a new technique, learning how to edit those, and trying to get into that and portraits and brand work right now. Really opening up that whole area of photography for myself and seeing where that is going to take me.
I mean, sounds like you're able to express yourself creatively, like, by challenging yourself a little bit, right? Yeah. Like, you got into it, you're like, oh, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to do that. How do you feel like your photos, for you personally, are you expressing yourself creatively? Is it what you're taking a picture of, or how it makes you feel when you take it?
It's a little bit of both. It's definitely your eye and what you see, and also the edits that you apply.
Yeah.
And every... a lot of times, a lot of artists will have a similar theme to their feed. With me, I'm just kind of all over the place just because I'm kind of like ADD about everything. So it really depends on the vibe when I'm editing something. But I definitely am kind of exploring this whole new world of portraiture and taking photos of people just because of the expression, and in addition to just capturing that a special moment in time, just editing and whatever style of edits I'm applying is really indicative of my mood. And I just did this last series. I did a collection in Chicago where it was all based on a single shot with a prism, and it was a really heavily edited set, but all single shots. And going back, if I were to edit it again, it'd probably be a totally different look and feel to it based on how I was, feeling at the time.
Wow.
So that's one thing that I love about photography is you can always go back and re-edit a shot and repost something like that based on how you're feeling. And I just love that creative freedom to be able to do that.
Do you ever go back and look at your pictures?
All the time now. I'll take a little bit of a break. I'll store them in a hard drive, and every once in a while I'll go back and be like, oh wait, some of these are really shitty. And it's like, I was terrible at this.
Yeah.
But sometimes, one out of a few of those are like, okay, I can put a new spin on this, and again, with new technology, new editing techniques, there's so much you can do now, and the software that's available and what you're able to do with any creative field is mind-boggling.
It's insane.
Let alone, video is a whole new thing too.
I know. YouTube is going to be the DirecTV of the future. If it not already is. Yeah. It's those little things that you do when you look back, or even just in the moment, you're like, okay, I think this is good. I got to keep doing this. Because in the creative field, there's so many reasons of self-doubt, of things you think maybe people are critiquing, they may not even be thinking of it, and it's just the little things, or the one compliment from someone, or just something that you're like, I feel good when I do this. I mean, just being creative, it's a constant battle of, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Do I love this? Because it's tough.
Of course.
Doing something off the book is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be challenging. And that's where inspiration comes from.
Absolutely.
I love Carl Craig, Chicago, or Detroit DJ, just incredible producer DJ, and he and Derek Carter both kind of have this you got to challenge yourself as a DJ. Carl Craig said, if you're not challenging yourself, magic's not going to happen.
That's true.
Derek Carter said, if you're not fucking having fun, no one else is having fun.
That is absolutely true.
And I was like, goddamn right. Yes, I understand playing out a set and this and that, but really something special does happen when you don't plan it. That could be photography, that could be a DJ set. I mean, look at fucking the professional sports world, LeBron James, think he's like, okay, I'm definitely going to cross over left, right. No. Last second he goes right, left. And that's when the magic happens. So I really relate with you on that. So I want to hear about At The Imaged.
Okay.
What exactly is it, and what's your role?
So I founded The Image as a feature account. It was 4 or 5 years ago.
It's got 100,000 followers, doesn't it?
It's about almost 280 right now.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you. And I started it when I started getting into the whole industry, the photography industry, and really getting into the Instagram community. And I was actually working. I became a mod of another feature account where we would feature other people's photos, but I started The Image to not only showcase everyone's work, but also to put a goodwill spin on that. So what we did was we would host galleries and events, and when we sold prints at certain events and some of these small galleries that we did, we would donate the proceeds towards the charity of the month.
Awesome.
So we worked with different charities across Chicago. And right now we're at a point, well, I took a little bit of a break for The Image. We still, feature the photos, but I had to take a little bit of a break when I took on the mid just because it was so time consuming and there's so much to do there.
Jobs. Four is your limit, right?
4 is my limit. At that point, I had to, draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
But right now, I really want to take the opportunity to, take it a step further. So we just got our L3C status for The Image.
Nice.
And next year we will be launching The Image Photography and Art School. And it's going to be for underprivileged children. So we're going to take about 7 to 10 for the first inaugural year, the first year. We're still finalizing a few of our partners, but the whole goal is to put together and give 7 to 10 kids a 9-month program where we not only teach them photography and the basics of how to take a photo, but we'll also teach them legal, how to issue contracts, how to secure gigs, also we'll do some personal branding, how to get your brand out there, how to handle your social media, how to copyright your work. And then at the end of it, with all of our connections within the nightlife industry, the goal is to also place them and give them some real life applicable, a gig after they get out when they're done with this 9-month program. So yes, they can shoot, they know how to edit everything, and they're able to sustain a job and find their own gigs after they're done with this program.
That's so special, man. Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
That really is unique.
Yeah.
I've never heard of something like that. Is that like first of its kind? Or?
That I know of. So
Yeah.
It's still kind of a work in progress. I think this is one of the first outlets that I've actually mentioned it.
Okay. You're okay to mention it, right?
I'm okay
I
to
don't gotta
mention
bleep
it
this
now.
out.
Everything is it's out there.
Okay.
All the wheels are in motion right now.
Yeah.
Partnering with a couple entities that are going to help instruct and teach, and there's so many people that once they heard about this, they're like, yeah, I believe in this, I want to help out. And we've got graphic designers that are lined up, but we've got a couple video people, actually a couple producers and directors out in LA that might be coming in for a couple guest lectures. So
Awesome.
We're working on a few people, a few more people to bring on board, as well as some partners. But I think that this could be a really awesome program, and we definitely change a few lives, which at the end of the day is what matters most to me right now. Is
Absolutely.
cheesy as it sounds, I do want to give
No,
back
of
and do
course.
something different with this whole creative endeavor that I do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't do everything for everybody, but doing something outside of something for yourself, that's the definition of selfless. Helping someone that can't help you back, right?
Yeah.
And that's where true just beauty in the humankind, race, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Thank
Fuck
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah to that. That's
Thank you.
awesome. At The Imaged.
At The Image, So
I followed it today.
Yeah,
Took
thank
about
you.
half a second.
appreciate that.
That's awesome, though. Really
Yeah.
cool. So one thing, too, I've noticed in a lot of your photos is hashtag Shyception.
Yeah, that was the set that I did. So once I go through waves, and I have certain, waves of inspiration. And Shyception was one that was a collection that I decided to do of 9 pictures that meant something. And it had a couple different meanings to it, in addition to just being, a play off the movie Inception, because of the imagery and the reflections of the city and bending the light and the image. It really represented a different way to see things. And my mom just got diagnosed with cancer, so I took a step back from everything, and that was my first series that I came out that really challenged me to do something creatively that was different and see the world in a different light, and make me want to do something for, to really put, the gas pedal down on doing something for the greater good, and something also creative that's totally outside of the box. And that's kind of where it sparked me getting back into the industry and getting back into taking more photos and being more involved with a lot of the different projects that I had going on the side at the time. So that was a series of 9 pictures that I did and edited, and this was following the last one I did before that was Chicago Gold, which is kind of just a golden tone series. And I think the next one is probably going to be either video or people centric, and it's always kind of this collection that I want to put together, and hopefully, I'll be able to put this up in a gallery somewhere, and again, those proceeds will go towards charity.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
You're kind of challenging yourself creatively in that aspect too, right? Like I'm just going to take a picture of the Chicago sunset or the lake or, seagull or something, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get up close and personal.
Yeah, really.
I think that's what I've noticed a lot about social media, especially, obviously there's so many good things. There's obviously bad things too, but it's, getting to the realness of people. You look at maybe some comedians or even the DJs that aren't like every picture is super like serious photo. You know what I mean? It's like that guy fucks up in life. Like that guy sins or whatever, but he also is a good guy and he does this and that. And like I think that's cool that you're maybe trying to highlight those things about Chicago specifically too. That's awesome. Yep. Very cool. Very cool.
Got to rep for the hometown.
Well, you guys got to check his Instagram out at Phives, right?
Yep, at Phives.
I will make
Phives.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So something I really want to ask you about is the future of electronic music. It's become obvious to people in the past 10 years since it's grown, like you said, maybe even from your college days. It's a lifestyle, right? It's a way of life for people.
Yeah.
And this has only happened in the past decade, in my opinion. We're so close to 2020. What do you think is in store for the next decade?
I think the trajectory is going to continue. More and more music's going to be put out there. The more accessible, again, software is, hardware is, getting music out there. You can self-publish anything nowadays.
You can.
It's super, super simple.
Yeah.
So the accessibility is there. I feel like there's going to be a lot more music. I feel like there's going to be a shift towards the community aspect of everything. Like we mentioned before, I think that might take a leading role in the identity of music and, what people really get down with. So, for example, I know we talked about this before, the golf clap community that they're doing, Country Club Disco and Juna Beats. Like these are like loyal pockets of people. And I think probably one of the greatest examples also is, Dirty Bird. I mean, come on, like right that there. Movement is, that
powerful.
That really, I want to say that single-handedly veered the musical tastes of a lot of people, and I feel like these pockets of brands and communities will continue to grow and take a forefront in the music industry, and they will really dictate the movement of where music goes towards. And a lot of in this trend, this goes towards multiple different genres, not just just certain ones. There's one for trance, there's deep house, techno. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
There's going to be little communities and artists that foster these communities and, followers. And I think that's where music will inevitably go towards as people look for certain things to identify with.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like I said, music is still going to be there. EDM, that's going to become more mainstream, even more so. But I think there is going to be a resurgence in a lot of live acts, a lot of more intricate sets, not just a couple DJs, as you'll see like now. One great example, like San Holo and all of them at Lala just doing this crazy electric guitar riff.
Gorgon
to
City
close
does
it
a great
out,
job of it
Gorgon
too.
City has so many artists. Louis the Child does a great live set.
Yes,
Autograph.
Yeah.
Shout out to those Win and Woo, like all the hometown, like that fam, like they're making moves, and I think that is going to be another shift towards music. People are gonna provide some more stage elements to really interact with and engage with. More so than just a regular DJ set. And there's also going to be the boundaries pushed for actual experiential. And for example, like Eric Prydz, what he just did with this holosphere.
Oh my God.
Absolutely
what
mind-blowing. Yeah.
Jesus, I get scared when I'm watching it on my phone.
And that's technology at its infancy. That's his first attempt at that.
So
and if
true.
you ever seen any of his other holographic shows, they're just absolutely insane. They're mind-blowing, and we're just scratching the surface of what we're able to do with all of that, and you know, with gaming on the rise, with virtual reality, with augmented reality, with so many technological advances. Music is going to be integrated with that in somehow, some shape, some form. It's always going to be part of it.
Yeah.
And, I see an integration of everything all together as like mixed media eventually.
Absolutely. I mean, you said in what stuck out to me, it's a lot of pockets of people, right? The engine is the dirty bird. So like, I was thinking about it from like a marketing aspect, you know, long tail marketing. There's everybody there, and then there's the end, and you got to fucking market to those people, or whatever you're doing, get those people to come. Figure out who they are. Like that's rule number one. Who's my audience? Who am I serving? What am I doing for them? And is it worth their time?
Yep.
You know, and then the Dirty Birds, fuck yes, the East Coast, the West Coast festivals, the Anjuna, you know, out in the Gorge, and like, I mean, everything else. Like, again, Night Base, you know, that's going to continue to grow.
So many parties.
That's
All
going to
Day
continue
I
to
Dream.
grow. All Day I Dream.
Jeez, Repopulate Mars, what they're doing out there.
Lee Foss, man,
so
God,
so many movements, so many things, like amazing parties being thrown. And you mentioned before, like Elro, that whole traveling party. I mean, come on.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And it's a traveling experience. Like, you don't even have to know who's on the lineup.
Yeah.
I see more of those happening for sure.
Yep.
I see the ones who are at the forefronts, the space yachts, the brownies and lemonade.
Yep.
Those types of movements. It's just so cool just to be a part of this scene now in this time.
It is.
You know? Because it's grown so much. And like, everything becomes mainstream eventually, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes, or I think that does inspire the subsets of genres and subsets of people. I mean, just it's all a tree, right?
Yep. And everything is, again, going back to how accessible it is. It's like, like back then, you'd have to go to LA to see what Space Yacht was about.
Yeah.
You'd have to go to New York to see, you know, a certain party that they're throwing. You know, you had to go to Output in Brooklyn or whatever.
Right.
You'd have to go down, to Belgium for one of those trance shows, like what is it, whatever, Tomorrow World. There's Sensation, that big movement.
Oh, the white party.
The white party. You'd have to go there to experience that. But now you can just go online and stream anything and be like, I dig that. I want to affiliate with that. And all of a sudden, international. You're there. You're part of this community. You follow that. You interact. And, hopefully someday you save up enough or they bring their party over to you. And it's out there. The internet has made everything so accessible. And for people to be able to share so much content and to share their community with the world.
We'll come back in 2029 and listen to this and see
see
what comes to fruition, huh?
Yeah.
I love it, man. So one thing, obviously, like I said in the beginning, you've given so many young artists opportunities and most importantly, provide genuine feedback on their brands, their music, their careers, everything, right? Like, you got to be honest with people. Here's what I think you should do. Not you should do, but here's what I think.
Yep.
Right? What would be maybe a piece of advice or something for someone who's trying to make it in the creative industry?
Have a sense of humility. Make sure you kind of pay your dues, and make sure you have your foundation is set, and kind of network with as many people as you can in the best way possible. I'm not saying just spam everyone, but meet the right people, be humble, pave your way through. Give credit where it's due. And just kind of stay on the grind as much as, as cliche as that is. You really have to just keep on the grind, keep learning every day, keep applying what you're learning to your work, and, just, sticking to it, sticking to your guns and not giving up because it's so easy to do so in such an oversaturated market where it's, you might not have the marketing budget of someone that just got picked up by this agency.
Right.
Even though your music's better. It's, it'll take time to really get out there, but, don't get discouraged. Ask for, as much feedback as possible from as many people as you can, and you'll be surprised at how many people are actually out there that do want to help you. And a lot of these times, these are major artists that, you'd be surprised that actually give a shit and they give you feedback. And these are the people that are going to play your tracks and support you and put you on their lineups and just, stay with it, stick with it.
Everybody starts somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yep.
No one was born into success of any sort, really.
Support each other, support everyone else, and, know that you are you are basically what you put into to whatever you're doing.
Of course. I love that. Everybody who's in a situation like that, like, listen, that's true, genuine advice.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You just got to keep working hard, keep your head down, and like I said, it's the journey that's the fun part, and everything else that happens is a cherry on top.
Yep.
And positively or negatively too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to make mistakes to learn from them.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm sure you've made your fair
a
share of
million.
mistakes, right?
I continue to make mistakes.
Continue to make mistakes,
always.
but the important thing is that you learn from them and you remember them.
Yep. Yeah.
So you don't go back.
You're not
and do
succeeding unless you fail at something every day. That's the way I see it. You gotta
Absolutely.
like screw something up, and then that's the takeaway for the day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So for a guy who's so busy, you got any guilty pleasures in your life? Any way you like to relax? You got cats, right?
I have a cat. I guess my guilty pleasure just be binge watching shows every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like if after a long weekend, I'll just Grubhub 2-3 times a day and just lock myself up, watch some quality TV.
Love that. What are you on lately?
What am I on? Dark is the one that I've been on.
Okay, I've heard of that.
A lot of these shows that are very cinematography based. A Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
Is absolutely
is that
amazing. It's amazing. I think it's great.
Holy
because
shit,
of
amazing.
Not only the message that it tells and the parallels that it has to a lot of society nowadays. There's a lot of undertones with that, but also the cinematography, their DP, that you could tell some of the scenes are just what the fuck, like it's incredible. And that's a lot of that is also it's inspiring for a lot of the work that I do. The color grading that they do, the shots that they get.
Interesting,
This is all inspirational stuff to do. So
do you ever watch TV shows and are just like you forget you're watching it and you're like, how did they shoot this?
Yeah, yep, all the time.
Oh
Movies,
my God.
I've watched Blade Runner about 6 times since. Mad Max is another one.
Yes, I just watched that again recently too.
Dear Lord, I want to get there.
Yes.
Those are always goals to get there.
Do you ever see yourself maybe getting involved in television and film then?
Possibly, yeah. Video and cinema is a whole nother world, but I think that as, I kind of learn more and more, that's going to be a door that I'm going to eventually try to open and see. For sure. If I want to put my foot through there or not.
I feel like you're kind of starting with the hardest part, which is getting the vision, the angle, right? That's the hardest part of filming is what do I want my viewer to see?
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm first in line at whatever your first movie is.
I appreciate that.
Directed Phives. I like that.
I appreciate that.
So what's in store for the rest of 2019 and into the new year for you?
I'm really developing this image program right now. I'm going to do a couple events.
Are you DJing still?
Yeah, I'm going to pick up gigs here and there. I'm going to be more selective about the gigs that I do take on. Sure. Because I do really want to foster this deep techno sound. Melodic techno sound that I've been going down, the Solomon Hosh type sound. That's something that I really, really fuck with right now. So when I go out, I just want to play that.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to be picky about that. I'm going to do a couple events. We're doing an event with the Art Institute, the After Dark. So I'm still doing that. Got a couple events that I'm doing soon that will circle around photography and the photography community. And, again, just really making sure that everything's set for the school next year and making sure all that's good to go and doing a couple fundraisers to raise awareness and money for that. I think our first big one is going to be, it's slated to be Black Wednesday right now. Okay. And once those details are finalized, obviously I'll let me know. Put you in the know and let you know.
You're not busy at all.
No.
No. So what can we expect in this guest mix? Straight Solomon?
Probably a little bit of that. It's either going to
just
be really
one
deep,
really
dark,
long Solomon song.
It was either really deep, dark dub, or it was going to be that. Yeah.
Oh, I love it, man. Yeah. That's the type of shit I like. Well, I really enjoyed this. So much fun. Everybody, make sure to follow him on social media at Phives Phives and at The Imaged. Yep. Correct.
Yes, that is correct. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely,
This
brother.
is awesome.
This is a great time.
Yes,
Thanks for coming through.
Amazing time.